Welcome back to the Mustang Express. It's presented by Central Auto Parts. I'm John Beltran, now joined by Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. Yep, it's a three-player broadcast team this year. Brian and Kevin have allowed me here, with my son being a freshman at Fort Morgan High School, to transition here back to Fort Morgan from calling Bead Digger games. So that's will be the broadcast team this season for Mustang football. Kevin will be on the field throughout the course of the game, and we'll start a segment here at some point. We'll make it up as we go along, Brian. A little nickel package, the 5 keys to the game, and you and I will combine on the nickel package here to begin. As you can tell, we've got the Mustang band here over to our right. But this, quite frankly, is a game that Fort Morgan has dominated the last 2 years, Brian. It's going to be tough for Brush tonight, especially under a new system, even though they're going back to the old Brush system.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it'll be new also for Fort Morgan this year, as they lost their leading rushers from last year, and Tate Kimball and Austin McBride, losing 34 touchdowns from last year.
Austin Breidenbach,
so we'll have to see where who they're going to go for a running back. I see Sterling Sharp is out tonight, so we'll see where they go with that.
Yeah, I was here 2 weeks ago, Kevin, when Sterling Sharp, on the first play from a scrimmage, he got tackled near the goal line. He had a high ankle sprain. He was on crutches the next day, and now he's feeling better but not ready to play in this first game of the season. Now, you guys have seen Dalen Knapp, who was a very good quarterback the last 2 years, manage this team and bring this team up and down the field and win games. But now you've got a big linebacker-looking guy, as Harrison Chisholm was talking about during Mustang Express. Isaac Linker, should be fun to watch him. You figure he's going to be more of a physical quarterback than we saw to Dalen Knapp.
Absolutely, and I expect them to do a little bit more of the power running with Linker being able to take the ball like on the option if the dive's not there. But also listening to Coach and watching during the summer, Linker's been working really hard on his passing games, and he's got some good receivers to throw to, so it's going to be an exciting year for Linker.
Well, we know he's got one of the primary receivers, Brian and Trey McBride. And I have to imagine that there's going to be a second guy stepping up. There's got to be a second guy stepping up, because after all, you know that McBride is going to be a major focus, not just by one player, but at least 2 players in the opposing team.
Yeah, he'll be double teamed, that's for darn sure. So we'll have to see who they come out with. Trey last year had 11 touchdowns, had 751 receiving yards. So, he's going to have to work to get open, because he's going to be double teamed. But, they're also going to be using him in the backfield also. He'll be throwing a few passes and doing some wildcat type of things, too, also running an option play. So he'll be the main focus on the field for the Mustangs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. By the way, after the game, we'll have a Facebook Live segment. We're bypassing that for now, but we'll have a Facebook Live segment after the game. Kevin, you know that the Mustangs return 8 starters on defense. I'm sure you're going to be down there, and you're going to be hearing a lot of hitting, a little bit different than being up at this angle. This should be a very good Mustang defense in 2017.
Absolutely, and the guys who weren't starters last year played a lot in nickel situations and other times, so I expect a really good defense from the Mustangs. I think that's what's going to carry them through the old adage, defense wins championships. Well, we're not to the championship yet, but this is the first step.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I'm telling you, with the Dylan McBride is out tonight. He's still got a cast on his left wrist, so that's going to make the unit a little bit, I wouldn't say weaker, but just a little bit inexperienced from that level, although he's a very physical defensive player. You see him there on the sidelines at the 45-yard line. Obviously, if you're listening to us, we're just making reference to that. You can't actually see it, but with Trey McBride and with Jimmy Keller and some studs like that defensively, even Isaac Linker, I'm not sure how much defense. Also, he was a starting linebacker last year as a sophomore, but the one thing you want to do is, we're in this quarterback-driven age. You want to preserve the quarterback, but at the same time, man, when he's such a valuable defensive player, we'll see what Coach Chisholm does. Then again, look what Kyle Rosenbrock did on defense. Besides being a stud offensive player, you figure, Brian, you go with your big weapons here on defense.
You got to have them on both sides of the ball. If you can't have them sitting on the sidelines, you got to have them out there and being involved on both sides of the ball. That's just the risk you take being out there on defense, with like Trey and Isaac being your big weapons on offense, but you also need them out there on defense as well.
All right, a Mustang Express here continues live from Legion Field, an expanded edition of Mustang Express for the first game of the season. And the Bee Diggers already done warming up, and boy, you look at the sidelines, and the Bee Digger numbers are still pretty decent, but boy, it seems Fort Morgan, even though their roster is about, 45, 46 right now, and about 43 or 44 with injury, it's still going to be, what do you think, Kevin, a pretty deep team here this year? Because, they brought back quite a bit from last year, even though Brian did mention the graduations to the running backs and some of the defensive players, of which there were not too many.
Right. Well, what I take from last year was we had some great running backs, but even when the second-tier and third-tier running backs got in there, the line was just blowing open holes. I don't know how many times I said, at the snap of the ball, the Fort Morgan line moved the whole line of scrimmage 3-4 yards downfield. This year, it's the offensive line that's going to have to prove themselves because they're young, and if they can't prove themselves and can't blow the holes, then maybe the running backs will be a little more suspect.
Boy, does it seem like the last game was like 3 years ago? It takes a while to get the season coming around again. But,
and this probably seems even longer for the boys too. But they do practice all summer and anymore, so maybe it's not too bad for them. So.
Right, yeah. Well, a lot of these are multi-sport athletes, so they got a lot going on, and they're not necessarily thinking about football in the months of February and March. They're already moving on to other sports, but here we are on a nice September evening. Gentlemen, we've got to enjoy this weather because we know that as it gets later on in the year, you guys have been part of some games, and so have I, where the weather certainly turns out to be challenging, although where are we going back, 2 or 3 years on a Saturday maybe?
Yeah. Well, and speaking of weather, I was thinking earlier today, what a blessing we have to have beautiful 80-degree weather, clear skies, and our hearts go out to those people down in Texas where Friday Night Lights is such a tradition, and there's so many teams that aren't able to play this Friday night, or probably for 2 or 3. So our hearts go out to those people as we enjoy the tradition, American tradition of Friday Night Lights.
Absolutely. Kevin is with us for his 7th year on Morgan County's B106 and B106.net, by the way. That's our new home, B106.net. Ryan for his 6th year. And, in fact, the last time I called Mustang football back in 2002, John, I believe, was a senior, your youngest son. And then I also called quite a few of Eric's games from 2000 to 2002. So now we're here in the booth together. The Mustangs are in their home black uniforms. I got to tell you, I know it's just color, but that color to me looks intimidating, Kevin.
It does. They used to say that white uniforms make you look big, but black is the new white, in that black makes you look bad. Like no one wants to take you on, and they do. The uniforms they choose are definitely intimidating.
Well, it's funny because when you wear black cleats and you're not wearing black, sometimes you look slow. But when you're wearing black on black, it makes you look that much tougher. And if you're wearing black on white or any white cleats are always for the speedsters. You rarely see an offensive lineman wear white cleats here. All right, so we're going to take a break here momentarily, and then we'll have the kickoff of tonight's game. It's the 2017 opener as the Mustangs take on the Brush Bee Diggers. We'll keep it right here for just a little bit, and then we'll come back here, and Kevin will join us on the field. And Kevin should have his okay, so he's fully equipped because we're working on this from the technical side as well to make sure that we get Kevin and Brian and myself here all in sync. Believe it or not, becoming the third wheel, Brian, is fun, but at the same time, I've taken both of you out of a slight comfort zone, so you have to forgive me. But
I understand. I mean, you got a son here that's on the team, and you want to be able to watch. So.
By the way, the C game was yesterday. The C game, and it was tough to watch. Fort Morgan beat Brush 2-0 on a snap over the punter's head that went out of the end zone. So it's first game. It's 9th grade. They were nervous. First high school game. So, however, all the varsity players were here to support them in the first quarter, and then they took off and got ready for practice after the game was over. So it's something that Coach Chisholm wants to keep as a tradition, making sure that freshmen don't feel like they're by themselves, that they've got some help, that they have some support, and that's what we saw yesterday. And that's what we will see throughout the course of the season. All right, let's take a 3-minute break, and we'll come back with the starting lineups and the kickoff of tonight's game between the Mustangs and Bee Diggers here on Morgan County's B106 and B106.net. Colorado High School Activities Association football is on Morgan County's B106 and B106.net. tonight from Legion Field in Fort Morgan. It's the opening game of the 2017 season as the Brush Bead Diggers take on the Fort Morgan Mustangs. John Beltran with Brian Nickel, Kevin Rohde's on the field for tonight's game and throughout the course of the season. As we mentioned during the Mustang Express, the Mustangs are wearing their home black, the Bead Diggers in their road whites with the maroon numerals and the gold pants and the maroon helmets. Opening kickoff tonight will be brought to you by Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance. Looking to find insurance for your car, home, or even for you? Call Ingmeyer Phillips with 2 locations in Brush and Fort Morgan. They can help you with your home, car, health, or life insurance questions or provide a quote. That is Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance. And it looks like the Bead Diggers have won the toss, Brian, and they will elect to receive. And if the Mustangs are the defense that they're supposed to be this season, that's going to be a good thing for them.
Yeah, it should be for the Mustangs, should be a quick 3 and out if they keep their heads on straight like they're supposed to and don't want to overlook anybody, that's for sure. So we will see what happens here as Brush will be on the northwest end of the field. I believe that's the way we're looking here. Fort Morgan will kick off from the south.
And Kevin Rohde, you're going to have a very nice view of the field there in this particular play coming up. Considering you're right there at the 15-yard line, you should hear some hitting down there.
Brian on 20-yard line, waiting to get tackle.
All right, we're losing him a bit there, and we're high up in the stands. So, all right, here we go with the opening kickoff. And for the Mustangs for this 2016 season, again, we'll work out some technical issues throughout the course of the year.
Trying to see who that kicker
like
is.
Like maybe this now, because I don't have number 6 on my roster. You got an alternate roster there from yeah, I did not have a number 6 on the roster that was sent to me.
Yeah, I've got it someplace if I can
All right, back
dig it up here. So
deep to receive for the Bead Diggers. Isaac Morales is flanked over there. I believe that might be Colin Cole or Nick Wellen. High kickoff.
Nice kick into the end zone.
Yep, and that is Colin Cole, 2 yards deep into the end zone. Well, we talked about it with, he's a soccer player, obviously, based on that kick.
Yeah, they said it was a soccer player. I don't know who it is, though.
Yeah, and we mentioned him during the Mustang Express. But anyway, here we go. 1st and 10 for the Bead Diggers. Cade Urich is the quarterback. Nick Wellen will be in that backfield along with Isaac Morales. We'll get to the Mustang starting lineup defensively here momentarily. 1st and 10. Boy, now it's a smoky Friday night. Under center is Urich. There's the handoff left side. That's a big gainer across the 20 to the 25. Isaac Morales picks up about 6 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 4. The Mustang tackle was made by Isaac Linker. We'll give him 5 yards officially for Morales. It'll be 2nd down and 5 yards to go. Very impressive run, and the Bead Diggers are right back under center here. 1 receiver to the right. The backs are split. Urich on 2nd and 5. Hands off left side and stutter stepping across the 25 to the 27, maybe the 28-yard line for a gain of 3. And that time, that's the sophomore Nick Wellen. It'll be 3rd down and 2, right side of that Mustang defensive line. Looked like James Moody got a piece of the ball carrier. It'll be 3rd down and 2 to go for Brush. 2 pretty productive plays so far here in the early going on 3rd down and 2. Now the receiver split out to the left. The Bead Diggers want to shorten this game as much as possible. Hold on to the football as long as they can. Man in motion to the right on 3rd and 2. Urich is going to hand it off right side, and a gain of about 1 for Wellen. He has stood up and driven back by 3 Mustangs. Grayson Garver was in there, along with a couple of other Mustangs. It'll be 3rd down and 1 after the gain of 1 by Nick Wellen. Well, I think a good start for both sides, Brian. Yep. I mean, Brush looked pretty good there, but the Mustangs held their ground.
Yep. They may forced the 4th down here, and we're looking now at Luis Garcia, and it looks like Jacob Ortega to receive the kick. J.R.
Puga standing at his own 16 to punt. Bead Digger getting in there at the last second to make sure they've got 11 on the field. Let's see the Mustangs come with pressure. standing at his own 16. Perfect snap. Here comes the pressure. Blocked by McBride. The ball is loose. Picked up at the 15.
Keller.
To the 10-5. Touchdown. Touchdown by Jimmy Keller. A 15-yard return off the block punt by Trey McBride. And 2 minutes and 4 seconds into the season, the Mustangs lead 6-0. Holy mahungus, what a block there by Trey McBride, but he went through rather easily.
Yeah, there was about 3 of them right in there that were right on the punter. He didn't have a chance.
Well, again, the Bead Diggers have not been able to compete on the scoreboard with the Mustangs the last 2 years. 47-7 here 2 years ago and 40-6 in Brush 1 year ago. Now the extra point to be attempted by the sophomore Adam Cardona. There's the snap. The kick is up, and boy, he barely got the foot on it. It's off to the right, no good. 9:56 to go, opening quarter. The score, Fort Morgan 6, Brush nothing on Morgan County's B106 and B106.net. Boy, another boot into the end zone. And the Bead Diggers start again at their 20-yard line. Jimmy Keller with a 15-yard return off a block punt by Trey McBride. Extra point missed. And the Mustangs lead by a score of 6-0. And this is what the Bead Diggers wanted to avoid on the road, having momentum go immediately in Fort Morgan's way.
Cade Jurek rolls out to the left. He's hit when he throws it by McBride coming in from that right side.
Yep, 2nd down and 10. Thank you, Brian. I'm working on technical issues here. 2nd down and 10. Jurek attempting his first pass of the game. And it's incomplete. And we expect this type of pressure all night. Here from the Mustangs. 2nd down and 10 at their own 20. And the early going here in Fort Morgan. Jurek under center. The backs are split. Receivers to the left and right. There's the handoff. Right up the gut to Nick Wellen across the 20 to the 23. It's a gain of 3. 3rd and 7. Jimmy Keller with the tackle. And Nick Wellen's got 3 carries for 7 yards. But the Bead Diggers will take that. And so will the Mustangs, actually, because they just want to prevent this team from generating first downs.
I think holding the 3 yards of play, then they'll get the ball back every possession. So.
It'll be 3rd down and 7 from the 23. Jurek rolls to, nope, there's going to be a pitch out to the right across the 20 to the 24-yard line, and that's a gain of 1. The Mustangs with tremendous pursuit over there.
Luis
and that
Garcia.
was, Isaac Morales on the carry. Morales now with a couple of carries for 6 yards. It'll be 4th down and about 6. And that football is resting at the Brush 24. J.R. Puga to punt. And once again, Garcia and Jacob Ortega back deep to receive. We got 8:50 to go. Clock running here, first quarter. The Mustangs lead the Bead Diggers by a score of 6-0. And Puga standing at his own 11. Low snap. Here comes the pressure again, and he gets it off. Beautiful end-over-end punt. And Ortega drops it, and it's loose. And I think, did he fall on it? No, I think the Bead Diggers might have it.
I think Brush got it.
Yep, at the 37-yard line. Ortega tried to get his right hand on it, and it's the first turnover of the game. Yeah, I don't think the block punt qualifies, and it's recovered there by the Bead Diggers, and I think Jade Queen came up with a football. So Brush will have it at the 37-yard line.
8:32 left in the first period.
1st and 10. The receiver to the left for the Bead Diggers is Ben Brown, the senior. There's the pitch left. Morales looking for a seam. Stutter steps to the outside, but Jimmy Keller's got him and throws him for a 2-yard loss, close to 2 yards. Back at the 39-yard line. That's the thing. Keller is so fast and quick, along with some of the other players on that defense, that if you stutter step, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you there. And he lost, we'll call it close to 2. It'll be 2nd down and a short 12 from the 39. We'll check in with Kevin momentarily. Yeah, I think we might have more success, Kevin, on this side of the field, considering where the antenna's at, as opposed to the other side when you checked in with us earlier, but we'll give it a shot here momentarily. 2nd down and 12 from the 39-yard line. Receiver split out to the right. Jurek on the bootleg is going to keep it rolled to his right. Then he's down. Tremendous penetration by McBride. He got a yard to the 38-yard line. But again, he tried to keep that ball on his right hip. And who again made the tackle? It was Jimmy Keller right there, Brian.
Jimmy Keller show here early on, but the pressure was in there from Trey McBride. Right now he is unblockable by the Brush offensive line.
That's going to be the case throughout the course of the season against many opponents. 7:15 to go first quarter. Fort Morgan 6, Brush nothing on a 15-yard return off a block punt by Trey McBride. It was Jimmy Keller who scored the touchdown. On third down and 11 to go from the 38. Again, one receiver split out to the left. That is Ben Brown. Urick looking to throw. Off his back leg. Wide open. Completed the 33 to the 30. Is Nick Wellen near a first down to the 27. He was wide open. He's going to be about half a yard short. It's a gain of 10 as a few Mustangs converged on the tackle there. It'll be 4th down and 1. And Kevin, let's see if we can check in with you. A critical moment in the game here for the Mustang defense.
Absolutely, John. The Mustangs defense has been playing great. Not only are they big, but they're also fast. And now, that's why they want to stuff Brush for less than 1 yard.
All right, it'll be 4th down and half a yard to go. Shy the 27, handoff right side, first down for Morales across the 25 to the 24. It's a gain of 4, and the Beat Digger drive continues. As that's the 4th carry for Morales. And the Beat Digger is having some success off the Mustang turnover. And they're nearing that red zone, 1st and 10 at the Mustang 24. Now 2 receivers split out to the right. On the inside slot, though, is Colin Cole. He might be in motion at some point. Wellen and Morales in the backfield. Up the middle to Morales. He stood up and driven back, but it's a gain of close to 3. They might give him just 2 at the 22. Looked like Isaac Linker really got his body in there. McBride around the football as well. Gain of 3, 2nd down and 7. On the 5th carry of the game from Isaac Morales. He's got 5 carries now for 11 yards, and a drive that, Brian, that they're sustaining fairly well, even though it's a short field to play with.
Yeah, they're making a little progress right up the middle.
2nd down and 7 for the Mustang 21, and the Mustangs jumped. 2 Mustangs jumped. Well, when you're this experienced of a defense, what also happens here, you can be a little bit over-aggressive. And that's what the Mustangs did there. They were not looking at the ball. They were just listening to the snap count.
2nd and short now.
Yeah, but it'll be 2nd down and 2. And the Beat Diggers are threatening to tie this game. They're at the Mustangs 16-yard line. Brown, the receiver, to the right. And there's the give to the D-back. Wellen across the left side. That's a 1st down for Brush. Inside the 15 to the 12. It's a gain of 4. Isaac Linker, the talented junior, was in to make the play along with, I believe, that's Miranda. Gerardo Miranda.
So they're finding a little room up front there. Went off the left side that time.
1st down and 10 for Brush at the Fort Morgan 12-yard line. 6-0 Mustangs, 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter in Fort Morgan on a perfect night for football, or for anything for that matter. On the left hash mark, handoff, Morales right up the gut inside the 10, and he bowls his way to about the 7. This kid's taking no prisoners, and the Mustangs are being as physical as they can with Morales, but he still picked up 5, 2nd down and 5, an impressive running back so far.
Yeah, he's a strong young man, that's for sure. James Moody with the tackle on that one.
2nd down and 5 for the Beat Diggers at the Mustangs 7-yard line. Both of these teams will take long trips next week. The Mustangs will be on the road against Falcon, and the Beat Diggers will be in Lamar at the 7. Again, the back split. Urick with the ball in his left hip, boost legs left across the sideline, and he's down at about the 6 or the 5 up that sideline as Keller had tremendous penetration, but Urick was able to get around him and gain maybe 2 yards. We'll see where the spot is.
He'll be just short of the 5.
Yeah, but it'll be at, we'll give him the 6 actually. Gain of 1 there for Urick. We'll call it 3rd down and a short 4 just inside the Mustang 6. They've attempted 2 passes, and Urick is 1 for 2, waiting for the play clock to get to 5 seconds. On 3rd down, Urick is going to hand it off right side, breaking a tackle, but then being held up big time is Nick Wellen. He had a shot there after he was hit at the 6-yard line, got to the 5, but then he was driven back.
Isaac Linker once again, or no, excuse me, Keller.
Yeah, he's been a stud. All right, it'll be 4th down and 3 with the ball just inside the 5-yard line. Looks like the Bee Diggers will go for it with 3:43 to go in the opening quarter. Fort Morgan 6, Brush nothing. I'm John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. On 4th down and 3 to go from the 5. Urick, play action, rolling to his right, looking, pressure coming, throws, passes incomplete. There might have been interference. No flag. Nick Wellen was hit hard at the 2-yard line. The Mustangs might have caught a break there, Brian. The contact was...
It was close.
It was extremely close. Kevin, let's see if we can check in with you. What did you see down there in terms of the contact there? Because that was a bang play right there at the 2-yard line.
Yards upfield, got a hand on the ball and tipped it, so there was no pass interference when there was a tip play.
See, that's why we've got Kevin on the sideline. We didn't see the tip, Brian.
No.
That's why you can nail him. So, all right, 1st and 10. Yeah, I did not see the tip, but that's a good observation. Now we've got a flag down.
Illegal substitution on Fort Morgan.
Yeah, that'll drive them back to the 2.5-yard line. See, we've already got major value in having Kevin down there. We're up here. Brian and I didn't even see that. Kevin saw that perfectly. And, sometimes when you have that better angle, that ground level angle, you're able to see it better. All right. It is 1st and about 12 for the Mustangs at their own 3. Linker out of the shotgun, hands off to Ortega, running right. And he spins across the 5-yard line. Then he's driven down at about the 9. It'll be a gain of about 6. And the Mustangs, I understand, in practice have been running a lot of pistol, so they'll be out of the shotgun quite a bit. We'll give it about 6 yards, maybe 7 there for Ortega.
Down at the 10.
We'll call it 2nd down and about 5 for Fort Morgan. Naked backfield now. We've got a timeout. And, well, that's one of the issues there. Fort Morgan's barely had the ball in this game. That timeout brought to you by Ehrlich Toyota East. Whether you're in the market to purchase a new or pre-owned vehicle, Ehrlich Toyota East in Fort Morgan will fit you into the car or truck of your choice, serving all of Northeast Colorado. That is Ehrlich Toyota East. John Beltran along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. And a packed house here. Even on the other side, some pretty good support. There's some slots there where there's some open bleachers, but plenty of Bee Digger gold across the way. The timeout is concluded. 2nd down and 5 to go for the Mustangs at their own 10-yard line. We're at the 2:52 mark of the opening quarter. Fort Morgan leads Brush 6-0 on the block punt by Trey McBride, which was returned by Jimmy Keller for a touchdown from 15 yards away. We got one in the backfield, and that is John Hokenettle. Hokenettle behind. Linker trips to the right. He rolls to the right, throws underneath. Pass is caught by McBride across the 25 to the 30. That's a big gainer for the Mustangs and a 1st down. McBride was wide open at the 31. A gain of 21 for Trey McBride and the Mustangs on that pass from Linker.
Yeah, he was, I didn't see where he was. He was part of that trips out there, and they got it to him, and the other 2 guys did blocking for him downfield and got it out to the 31.
Well, they finally got Trey McBride in isolation, but when I say finally, it's because they haven't run many plays. Garcia, the outside receiver to the left. Inside is McBride, 1 to the right. Again in the gun, 1st and 10 for the 31. Hokenettle is the lone setback. Linker will keep the football, run to his left, break a tackle, and he'll spin to the 35. Now across the 35, still going to the 36-yard line. That play took a little bit of time to develop. Looked like the blocks were not necessarily there, but Linker's so strong, Brian, he was able to pick up 5 yards.
Yeah, he's a strong young man. They list him at 6'2", 205. So that's pretty good size for a quarterback.
Well, they'll give him 6 yards. Our stats might be a little bit off by the end, but maybe by a yard or 2. 2nd down and 4 for Fort Morgan. This drive started at their 5, then they went back to the 3 because of penalty from the 37 in the waning moments of the opening quarter. Trips to the right once again, and the Mustangs have used 1 timeout, but here a flag is thrown, and this has nothing to do with a timeout, obviously. Let's see what the penalty is. I'm guessing It's against Fort Morgan, and it's illegal procedure or a false start. I didn't see anybody move, but something happened there. See, here's what I don't understand. That was clearly a 2nd and 4. Now it looks like a 2nd and 10. We'll put it at the 32. We'll mark it there. 2nd down and 9 at the 32.
Yeah, without the hash marks, it's kind of tough.
Trips to the right, one setback. Linker out of the gun is going to roll to his right. Now will pitch it right to Ortega, looking for a seam to the outside, and he is driven back by Ben Brown. Nick Wellen had penetration, and there was nothing there. Nothing there for the Mustangs. And check that. Correction there, that was Caleb Cox. And in fact, it's a 1-yard loss for Ortega. And it's 3rd down and 10 to go for Fort Morgan at their own 31-yard line, up 6-0 here in the opening quarter. One receiver out to the right on 3rd and 10. Ortega again in the backfield, rolling to his left is Linker. Pressure coming, throwing off his back foot. Intercepted by Caleb Cox at the Fort Morgan 37. Yeah, he cut off, I believe, McBride there. And Linker, who had to throw up his back foot, really didn't have as much as he wanted on that football, but didn't have the angle either. And the Mustangs, uncharacteristically, have turned it over twice in the opening quarter. Kevin, let's send it down to you.
Actually, what happened there was they were claiming that it hit the interception, so Fort Morgan's got 4th down.
Yep, and it did.
Okay.
Yep, all right, so it's 4th down. So, again, that's why we have Kevin down there. Boy, I'm starting off slow this year. So it's 4th down and 10 for the 31-yard line. Now the Mustangs with their first punt of the game, but boy, that was nearly an interception. Perfect snap. Here comes a heavy rush, and the punt is on its way, and it's going to land at the 44-yard line of Brush and down at about the 43. Grayson Garver with a punt down to the 42 officially. It's a punt of 27 yards, but very good field position here for the Beat Diggers to begin their next drive after the Mustangs had turned it over earlier in this quarter.
Yeah, they Brush had it last time and drove it down to about the 2 and then came up short on the 4th down. So we will see if the Mustangs defense changes up at all, or if they're just, we'll see what they do here with this Brush running offense.
1st and 10 for the Beat Diggers at their own 42-yard line. With 1:37 to go in the opening quarter. They've had the ball for the majority of the quarter. 2 receivers split each side. In motion to the left is Cole. Urick will hand it off to Cole in the end around, looking for a seam on the outside, but he's tripped up from behind. Miranda made a nice play, still on the ground, and it's a gain of about 2 for Colin Cole, and that's just excellent defense. That was form tackling there by Miranda.
Yeah, and good speed out there. This Fort Morgan defense is going to be based on a lot of speed. They've got it there, and they're going to use it.
But look what we're seeing now, 12 running plays by Brush in the opening quarter. I think they've accomplished what they wanted, and they've kept the Mustang offense off the field. 2nd down and 8 to go for Brush at their own 44. There's a give. Stutter stepping as Morales across the 45. Let's see if that's him, or that might be a secondary running back. Yep, that is. That's Adrian Lopez to the 48-yard line, and that's a gain of 4 for Lopez. It'll be 3rd down and about 4 to go for the Beat Diggers, approaching the 42nd mark here of the opening quarter. That's amazing, Brian. That's 13 carries for Brush in the first quarter. I think that's what they wanted to do, but the Beat Diggers have not had a ton of success. The Mustangs have been able to stop them. On 3rd down and 4 from their own 48. Rolling to his right is Urick. Pressure coming. Throws on the run, incomplete. And there's going to be a late flag. It looked like the Mustang who applied the pressure, and J.P. Hamer grabbed part of the face mask of Urick, so that's going to be a penalty against Fort Morgan and extend the drive. And all he had to do was go low on him, and it would have been an incomplete pass. And I don't think they're calling intentional grounding. I think they saw something, a hand around the face mask.
Yeah, he grabbed him on the face mask. Oh, they're calling roughing the passer.
Yeah, roughing the passer. So it'll be a 1st down, and the Beat Digger drive is extended. Urick is 1 out of 3 passing for 10 yards. So that's actually one of their more productive plays. In fact, their biggest offensive play was a 10-yard pass from Urick to Wellen. But how good is this Fort Morgan team if they're not even close to their A game and they lead 6-0 because of special teams?
Yeah. So that puts it down into Fort Morgan territory.
First and 10 for the Bead Diggers at the Mustang 38-yard line. Well, you want to save your best for last. And if you're going to have your worst, get it out of the way early. It might not be their worst, but certainly not their best. First and 10. Urich is going to hand it off to Lopez. The ball is fumbled, recovered by the Mustangs. The ball was loose at the 42-yard line. It looked like Urich and Lopez ran into each other. I think a Mustang got it. Yes, It's recovered by Miranda. And the Mustangs come up with a turnover with 14.6 seconds to go in the opening quarter. And that was a sloppy exchange on offense. And now Fort Morgan is 57 yards away from extending their lead. And this is obviously much better field position than they had before when they started at the 5.
So we'll see what they can do with it now. Let's see what they have for their get their offense rolling here.
First and 10 for Fort Morgan at their own 43. This time, Linker will be under center with the two backs. There's the give to Hokenettle. Big hole across the right side, across the 50 to the 49. It's a gain of 9 for John Hokenettle, and that's the end of the opening quarter with the score. Fort Morgan 6, Brush nothing on Morgan County's B106 and B106.net. John Beltran back with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. Let's go to the second quarter from Legion Field in Fort Morgan. The Mustangs lead the Bead Diggers by a score of 6-0. Fort Morgan's got it second down and 1 at the Bead Digger 49. The lone score of the game was a block punt by Trey McBride. Jimmy Keller picked it up and returned it 15 yards for a touchdown. Out of the gun is Linker. Two receivers split each side with one setback. That's Hokenettle. And Hokenettle gets the football behind a blocker. First down as he continues to drive, breaking tackles down at the 44. There's a late flag down. That's too bad because he had already picked up the first down.
Yep.
And I think that 5-yard gain is going to be nullified by a holding penalty, and that's the case. And those are got to be frustrating penalties when, the first down was already accomplished. He was 3-4 yards down the field, and now that carry by Hokenettle is nullified, and the Mustangs are going backwards. And it's just indicative of what we've seen so far by the Fort Morgan offense. Just some mistakes here, Brian.
Yeah, way too many mistakes. I know it's the first game of the season, but they have enough people coming back that this type of mistake shouldn't be happening.
I agree. Now the Mustangs have it's from the spot of the foul, so it'll be second down and 9 to go from their own 44. Out of the gun, Linker rolling to his right, pressure coming, throwing along the sideline, tipped and complete. And that was not a very good pass. Caleb Cox this time almost had an interception intended for Trey McBride. There's a Bead Digger down, getting up slowly, but he's okay. And we do have a flag down, ineligible man downfield. Boy, I'm telling you, Harrison Chisholm's got to be hot. Because I'm telling you, these mistakes, they're just not. Now, I don't know if he agreed with that call necessarily. He's out there. And I don't know if there was an ineligible man downfield. That's what was called. It's going to be, let's see if that's declined. But even aside from that, just other things that we're seeing that's very uncharacteristic, even in Game 1 for a Fort Morgan team that has dominated this series the last 2 years.
Well, we saw there, like we were saying earlier, that there were, Trey McBride's going to be double teamed, and that's just what it was there. And Isaac's trying to force it in there, and it's just not there.
I don't know what's happening here. It says second down and 9. That should be third down, but that should be a third down. If they decline that penalty,
it should be third.
It's second on the sideline. It's second on the scoreboard.
They're declining.
Yeah, it should be third down. There you go.
Okay.
It should be third, but So it's third down and 9, so that goes as an incomplete pass for Linker. That's his second incomplete pass in as many attempts. Third and 9. The Mustangs at their own 43, up 6-0 early in the second. Linker will hand it off right side to Hokenettle. Stutter steps, breaks the tackle, but is down at the 45-yard line. It's a gain of 2, and the tackle was made by Isaac Morales. And this is the best game so far that Brush has played against Fort Morgan since the 2014 season when the Bead Diggers won 35-3.
Yeah, they've come to play tonight.
All right, so fourth down. And Grayson Garber to punt. I believe that's Morales back to receive. Garber standing at his own 30-yard line, Low snap, and here comes the rush. He gets it off low line drive kick. It'll bounce it around the 21-yard line, and it'll take a Mustang bounce inside the 15 to about the 12. That's a good roll for Grayson Garber. And that punt went for 44 yards, productive punt, and the Beet Diggers are backed up at their own 12-yard line. Kevin, what are you seeing? I'm seeing some sloppy football there from Fort Morgan. I'm sure they'd like to play a little bit sharper here.
The coaches are just pulling their hair out trying to figure out why this team that the last 3-4 years haven't made these kind of mistakes, and now it's almost like a flashback to 5-6 years ago when they gave away every game by stupid penalties.
Well, let's see if they can correct those right now. Thank you, Kevin. 1st and 10 for the Beet Diggers, and there's a handoff left side and stuffed as Trey McBride makes the hit on Nick Wellen. Back at around the 11-yard line. It's going to be a loss of maybe 2. Let's see if they backtrack the football. We'll call it, a loss of 2 to the 10. It'll be 2nd down and 12 yards to go. You just cannot run towards Trey McBride there, Brian.
No, you got to know where he is at on the field at all times, and you're not going to run away from him.
Well, that's 6 carries for 10 yards so far for Wellen, so the Mustangs have done an excellent job neutralizing that Beet Digger offense. 2nd down and 12 for the 10. Mustangs up 6-0. Urick hands it off left side. There's a hole, but it's closed after a gain of about 5, though. Nick Wellen to the 15. And getting up off the bottom of the pile for the Mustangs is Trey McBride. He's going to be in on a lot of hits along with Jimmy Keller. The gain officially is going to be 5 yards, we'll call it. 3rd down and 7 to go for the Beet Diggers after the gain of 5.
Found a little opening there on that left side.
Well, and McBride, he's just roaming around. He's reading. He's not right on top of the line every time, although right now on a 3rd and 7, they might be looking to pressure the quarterback. And now we've got a Beet Digger timeout. We'll keep it right here. With a score, Fort Morgan 6, Brush nothing, 9:38 to go in the 2nd quarter from Fort Morgan. Again, it's special teams that got the Mustangs on the board. Yeah. Statistically, you look at this, and Brush has done exactly what they wanted to do in terms of shortening the game. Like I mentioned before, they have run 16 plays on the ground. Now, one of those was a fumble, but 16 plays on the ground, and they've attempted 3 passes. Meanwhile, Fort Morgan has run 5 plays on the ground and attempted 3 passes. And who expected that type of discrepancy in the first game of the season, even though we still have lots of football to go?
Yeah, ball control by the Beet Diggers, that's for sure, keeping the ball away from the Mustangs. And Mustangs only up 6-0. It's a lot different score than I was anticipating at this stage of the game.
Yeah, no question about that. Here we go. 3rd down. And we'll call it 7 for Brush at their own 15-yard line. Backs are split, and a Beet Digger moved on that left side. And now they're going to be back at the 10-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 12 to go. Blanchwint is going to be very careful, their first-year head coach, what play he runs here. I'm sure he doesn't want to turn it over deep in the zone. Critical play call here.
See if Urick, they have him keep it, or if they're going to go ahead and hand it off to their running back.
On 3rd down and 12 from the 10. 2 receivers put each side. 1 setback. Back to throw is Urick. He pumps, and then did he lose the football? He just took off with it, but he did pump so hard. Sometimes it's hard to hold on to the football, but that's going to be a sack.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's behind the 10, so it's a sack.
No, but looks like somebody else is getting up with a football. I don't know. Either way, it's a loss of 1 to the 9-yard line. I saw at the bottom of the pile another Beet Digger there, but a loss of 1. It'll be 4th down and 13 to go, and J.R. Puga to punt. He's about 4 yards deep in the end zone. The Mustangs should have great field position. Ortega and Garcia are back deep to receive, and they're in Brush territory. Awaiting the snap is Puga, the sophomore. Perfect snap. Here comes the rush. Blocked by McBride. The ball rolls out of the end zone for a safety. And the Mustangs lead 8-0 with 8:47 to go here in the second quarter. And McBride has been responsible for all 8 points. Man, McBride is a special teams monster tonight. And Kevin, did he look like he was essentially untouched to you? Because it looked like nobody put a body on Trey McBride. He got in there pretty easily.
Absolutely. No one blocked him, just like the last time on the opposite end of the field when the Cotton ran it in for a touchdown. It was like the waters just parted and they headed right on in and no one got a body on them at all. So another great defensive play for the Mustangs.
All right, 8-0.
All on special teams.
I mean, this is, how unconventional is this? I mean, this is very unconventional. Like I said, my son played a game yesterday, the C team, and they won 2-0 over Brush. And we're seeing some of this very similarly with special teams playing the primary role. All right.
Brush is short a player. They only got 10.
Yeah, and they're going to be punting for the 20-yard line. Punting for the 20. Let's see if it's Puga or somebody else.
I don't know. Yeah, there it is. I was trying to see who had the ball there. He has it there. .8:47 to go in the second period.
All right, the punt is an end over end towards the sideline, fielded at the 36-yard line, across the right side of the 45, and into the second unit there for Brush, across the 40 to the 37 to the second wave, I should say.
J.P. Hamer.
And a nice return by Hamer. That'll go for about 26 yards. All right, Brian, if you don't mind, you can take over here for a second while I fix a technical issue at the 37.
Okay, Fort Morgan takes over. It will be 1st and 10 from the Beat Digger 37. With 8:38 to go here in the first half. Linker under center, full house backfield behind Linker. McBride is actually the lead, is the far back. He gets the ball around the right side, ducks his head, and gets it down inside the 35, down to about the 34. That will bring up a second down for the Mustangs. They're calling it 2nd and 7 from the 34. We're clock running here, 8:06 to go now here in the first half. The Mustangs leading at 8-0, all on special teams play. Trips to the right. Now McBride, the quarterback, and he takes it and he's going to go off the left side, and he breaks a tackle down inside the 20 or inside the 30 and down to the just inside the 25. So a Wildcat by the Mustangs earns them a first down. So they'll bring up a 1st and 10. Fort Morgan from the 25. A gain of 9. McBride, Wildcat once again, trips to the right. Linker is one of the trips to the right. Then he's going to hand it off this time on the right side to Hognadel. And that will get them down inside the 20. As they give that to John Hognadel. So that'll be a gain of 5, bring up a 2nd and 5 from the 20. Same formation as before, Hognadel behind McBride. Snap to McBride, goes over that left side. He is gang tackled for a short gain. It won't be enough for a first down. There is a flag after the play. So we'll see what the flag is going to be about, if there was a personal foul in there or what happened. We'll see here what the referee tells us. It's a dead ball, personal foul on Brush. So that will be an automatic first down for the Mustangs now, as Hooknottle gets up slowly off of the turf and is helped off by the trainer. So now it will be a first and first down. Let's see where they finally spotted at. It's going to be first and goal from the 9. As they wind the clock here, the Mustangs up 8-0. Linker back under center. McBride the deep back. And it's going to be a handoff to McBride over the right side as he's down inside the 5. Bolsey's way down inside the 5, down to about the 4. So they'll bring up a second and goal from the 4. As the Mustangs started this drive from their own 37. Second and 4 from the 4. McBride the deep back once again with Ortega, and they're going to give it off to McBride, and he goes over the right side into the end zone for a touchdown, and McBride takes it in from 4 yards out. And that will put the score now at 14-0 with the PAT coming up. Touchdown McBride from the, I guess you would call it the fullback position. We'll try to see if the extra point is a better shot than last time, and this time it looks like it's going to be up and good this time. So now with 6:01 left here in the second period, as the cannon goes off, the Mustangs now lead at 15-0 over the Brush Beat Diggers.
All right, that run by McBride went for how long?
4 yards.
Okay, for Trey McBride, yeah. Okay, our stats will be off a little bit here by the time we get to the end of the game, so Mustangs with that lead was, as Brian mentioned, halfway through the quarter. And McBride is responsible for 14 of the 15 points tonight.
Yep. Yeah, they used him in the Wildcat there and used him as a deep set on the running back. So they got the ball into the hands of the playmaker, and they took him down and got him a touchdown.
Jimenez, that's his name, I'm sorry. Jimenez to kick it off. He's been awesome here for Fort Morgan. And again, a 15-0 lead, and not even close to their A game at this point, although that was a nice drive on a shortened field there for Fort Morgan. Jimenez boots that football high and fairly deep. Backing up at the 2 is Morales, straight ahead to the 10, stutter stepping to the 15, breaks the tackle to 20, down at the 24. It's a return of 22 yards there for Morales. And David Sarinana made the tackle on special teams for the Mustangs. They'll mark it at the 25. And the Beat Diggers looking to try to close in on that 15-0 deficit, but the Mustangs are taking no prisoners.
Trying to see who they're working on. They got the trainer working on somebody here on the near side for Fort Morgan.
Urich hands off to Wellen, running to his right across the 25, then piggybacking himself to the 29-yard line as Mustangs are riding him as well. It's a gain of 4 for Nick Wellen. It'll be 2nd down and 6 to go.
Trying to see what that number was. It looks like a lineman, maybe 78. Garrett Fritzler possibly on the ground here they're working on.
We'll call it 2nd down and a long 6 to go for the Beat Diggers at their own 29. There's the inside handoff. First down across the 30 to the 35. That's a quick hitter by Isaac Morales as Jimmy Keller made the tackle. However, the ball carrier still down. And let's see, yeah, that was Adrian Lopez is coming into the game. Yep, and the Beat Diggers still down. after the gain of 6. And it's a first down at the 35. Haven't had too many really mishaps like that. We'll be back at it here coming up on Friday night when the Mustangs take on Falcon on the road. Kevin, let's send it down to you. Kevin, what do you have for us?
Yeah, on the field around the sideline being trained, looked at is James Hokenau. Looks like he's got some pretty severe cramping in his right calf there, trying to stretch it out, and he's writhing in pain and letting them know that it's not very comfortable. So that's what's going on down here.
Thank you, Kevin. And James is a starting center, a junior, so the Mustangs certainly need him. Again, Kevin Rohde on the field for us this season. I'm John Beltran with Brian Nickel. 1st and 10 for the 35. Cole in motion to the left. There's the inside handoff and a gain of 2 straight up the gut to the 37-yard line for a gain of 2. And that is Adrian Lopez with the carry. Isaac Linker and Jimmy Keller to make the hit. And again, 2nd down and 8 with 4:49 to go second quarter. The Mustangs with a 15-0 lead on a block punt by McBride, a 15-yard return by Keller, a block punt for a safety by McBride, a 4-yard touchdown run by McBride. From the 37, pitch left. Lopez has a lot of speed to the outside across the 40, and then he's tackled from behind at about the 44 by Linker. It's a gain of 7. Well, I should have never questioned how much Linker would be involved in this game at the beginning because he's been a hoss out there. But Adrian Lopez is able to pick up some sizable yardage. It'll be about 7 yards and 3rd down and 1 to go for Brush.
Yeah, they got the outside on that. I don't know who the defensive end is supposed to be on this right side, but he got pinched inside.
3rd down and 1 to go for the Bee Diggers at their own 44-yard line. The backs are split. This will be a handoff right up the gut. 1st down, backing his way across the 45 to the 47. Once again for Brush. Getting up slowly is Adrian Lopez, but it's a gain of 3. And again, the reason Brush is this close in the game is because they've kept the ball on the ground and kept the ball away from the Mustangs. The Mustangs have dominated one aspect, and that's obviously special teams.
Yeah, their running game for Brush is working, and they're keeping the time of possession, I'm sure, as well in their favor, keeping it away from the Mustangs.
It'll be 1st down and 10 for Brush at their own 47-yard line. And again, taking up time here on the clock as well. One receiver split out to the right. Under center is Cade Urick. Holds the football, will take off, run up the middle, breaks a tackle down at the 50-yard line. It's a gain of 3. And he's tackled from behind around the ankles by a sophomore in Brian Paxton. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Now we got an official's timeout. Yeah, he's got to come out of the game because his helmet went flying.
Yeah.
And that's a high school rule. And checking in is the sophomore Nick Norris. So it'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Bee Diggers. Just shy of midfield. 3:18 to go. Clock running second quarter. Fort Morgan leads Brush 15-0 on the opener for both teams on a gorgeous night from Legion Field here in Fort Morgan. One receiver out to the left. The backs are split for Brush. Urick is going to hand it off to Wellen, running towards his right, and he's taken down from behind by J.P. Hamer, right at the 50-yard line, and also in the play. Man, who else? Isaac Linker. It's either Linker, Keller, or McBride. If one of those three is not making the play, Brian, you would think it's going to go for some decent yardage because those guys are around the football. At least one of those three, if not two of those, every time.
Every time. Yeah, they're getting out there and either cutting off the edge out there or they're plugging up the middle once they get past that defensive line of scrimmage there. The Mustangs having a little bit of a gap there sometimes on that defensive line. Then the linebackers are cleaning it up.
Perhaps a passing situation for Brush. 3rd and 7 at midfield. Urick, play action. Pressure coming. He's down. Holy Mahungus, right up the middle for a big loss.
And who's there?
Jimmy Keller. It's a loss of 7 back to the 43, and he shot through there right through the middle of that Brush offensive line. And it's 4th down and 14 to go for the Bee Diggers, and Jimmy Keller is having a huge first half.
Yeah, he just shot right through there like he shot out of a cannon. Maybe Gary Cleaver had him lined up in that cannon down there in the end zone, shot him out through there. I don't know, but
J.R. Puga to punt. Garcia and Ortega for Fort Morgan back deep to receive, standing at their own 23. There's the snap. Here comes the pressure again. It's a high end-over-end punt towards the sideline, and Garcia bobbles it, but he does not drop it. Then he's down right there on contact at about the 23 with 1:32 to go. The Mustangs, I believe, have 2 timeouts remaining here in the opening half, leading 15-0 again with 1:23 to go, starting at their own 23-yard line. This is their second worst field position. They actually started a drive at their own 5. So let's see what they can do right now. At the 23, up 15-0. Well, you got McBride.
Yep.
You got Garcia. You got 2 great weapons and 2 receivers out to the left.
Yeah,
Naked backfield. That's going to be a timeout. And again, I don't know if that was a timeout that Harrison Chisholm wanted to take with a clock stop. Brought to you by Ehrlich Toyota East. Whether you're in the market to purchase a new or pre-owned vehicle, Ehrlich Toyota East in Fort Morgan will fit you into the car or truck of your choice, serving all of Northeast Colorado. Ehrlich Toyota East.
Jacob Ortega late on the play. He was not out there.
Well, and he's a sophomore, so those things are going to happen early on. You know, he had some limited action last year on special teams as a freshman. So you expect these things to happen game one with the younger players. If it's happening to a senior, especially a senior, you would say that that's more unacceptable because they played at the varsity level on a more consistent basis. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 23. I'm John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. 2 receivers split out to the left and right. Out of the gun, Linker, 2-step drop, looking, pressure coming, throwing deep over the middle of the passes, incomplete. Incomplete at the 46-yard line, up the left side a little bit. There was some traffic over there.
Got a flag at the 20.
It's right at the 20. It's either holding or roughing the passer. Let's see what the call is going to be.
Looks like they're bringing him back. Holding.
It is a hold against Fort Morgan. Looked like Connor Fajardo, if I have that correct, was the intended receiver for the Mustangs. Lots of speed there, but even a complete pass would have done them no good. And Brush head coach Lance Schwinn doing the smart thing, realizing that you got to push this team as far back as possible, and that's going to turn into a 12-yard penalty. So it'll be 1st down and 22 to go for the Mustangs at their own 11. That might change the play calling here with 1:27 to go in the opening quarter. Fort Morgan's up 15-0. The backs are in an eye. Linker will hand it off up the middle. That's a big hole for Hokanetto. Breaking tackles and tumbling his way to about the 21. John Hokanetto with a gain of 10. It'll be 2nd down and 12 to go, and a nice run by Johnny H.
Yeah, he broke right up through that line of scrimmage, right up through the middle.
From the 21, clock running. Mustangs backed up to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10. Handoff, left side, stutter stepping. That's a 1st down across the 30 to the 33, and that's J.P. Hamer with a gain of 12, and that's what they needed. Now the clock will stop for the movement of the chains, and all of a sudden, you're getting another weapon involved in this offense. 58 seconds to go. 1 timeout remaining for the Mustangs. McBride is the lone receiver to the right. The clock has not restarted because the chains have not been reset. Garcia, the receiver, to the left. Now the Bee Diggers are double teaming McBride. You can already see it from this angle. Under center is Linker from the 33. Handoff, running to his right, stutter stepping as Hamer breaks out of a tackle. And then he gets away from another tackle, but he's only got a couple of yards as he's driven down from behind. Let's see if Coach Chisholm calls a timeout. He does. It's a gain of 2 for Hamer. We've got 39.8 seconds to go. And at this point, what do you pull out of the hat here, Brian? Because you don't have too much time. You've got no timeouts. If you're going to score, you figure it's got to be maybe something not necessarily deep, but perhaps a screen or some type of deceptive play.
You don't seem like you see a lot of screens from the Mustangs. But we'll see if they get the ball into the hands of McBride. He hasn't touched it here on these last 3 plays. And Hamer's been running the ball pretty good here on these last 2 possessions. But we'll see if they get the ball into the hands of their stud player and Trey McBride.
2nd down and 8 to go for Fort Morgan at their own 35-yard line. 2 receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. The Mustangs looking to build on this 15 lead. 1 setback, that's the senior John Hokanetto. Man in motion to the right. There's the handoff on the end around. That is Jacob Ortega to the outside of the 40-yard line, and then he's tackled at the 43, but it's right at the stick. That should be a first down, a gain of 8, and the clock will stop for the movement of the chains. Ben Brown makes the tackle, and that was huge that Ortega got to the stick. If he doesn't, the clock is still running, and instead it stopped at 32.7 seconds to go. In fact, they're not sure it's a first down. They're going to have to measure at this point. Let's go down to our coach on the field. Kevin, you got a play for us here that could get the Mustangs back into the end zone. What do you think?
I was thinking that your idea of a screen sounds like a good idea. And then the draw back to the other side. I don't know. At this point, when they're bringing out the chains, I always like to give credit to the Fort Morgan Volunteer Fire Department, who first and help out the football team with the chaining.
All right. A nice plug in there for the Fort Morgan Volunteer. Well, you know what? I mean, they do a heck of a job. You know, again, especially, Brian, when you throw in the word volunteer. You know, I mean, you can never take that for granted. I mean, that is never, ever underappreciated. All right. The chains are out there, but we still don't know if it's a first down. Yeah, they're going to be
short.
Barely short. So the Mustangs have got to get up to the line of scrimmage. But what I do here, well, I'm not Coach Chisholm. Let me not pretend to be. But I think a quick hit or a quarterback sneak, because the chains will stop immediately. Then you get right back up there. You don't want to run really a conventional play unless they're thinking on 3rd and 1 that you've got the 4th down to operate with. So they might just pass it right now with trips to the left. McBride is the lone receiver to the right. Right now he's being single-teamed. And I think they might go that way. The safety is nowhere near McBride. He's just covered by a corner. And back to throw is Leaker looking McBride's way. Chucks it deep up the right side. Pass is going to be incomplete. And that was great coverage there at the 19-yard line. McBride went diving for that football. But I tell you, Ben Brown had some outstanding coverage. I mean, you cannot cover a receiver any better than the senior for Brush did. And McBride's getting up slowly, and he's off the field almost favoring his right shoulder. I don't think he's 100% right now. McBride is clearly frustrated at this point, and he slams the helmet down, and he is hurt. And it's 4th down. Yeah, he hurt his right shoulder.
Shoulder, collarbone or something. They're going to line up to punt.
Yep, they will punt. Grayson Garber to punt. And boy, that's a huge injury here for Fort Morgan. Hopefully he just nicked himself.
Yeah, they're not going to get this punt off in time unless they hustle.
Play clock is running down. Boy, I hope he didn't pop that thing out of place. And I mean, the season changes completely if Trey McBride has any sort of serious injury. But I think that shoulder might have slightly, I don't know, is it a dislocation or something? I mean, he wasn't in writhing pain, but he was in obvious pain as he came off the field.
Could also be that collarbone.
It's either the right shoulder or the collarbone, and we'll find out. But that's not a game-changing injury. That's a season-ending injury if it's serious. Here comes the snap, the pressure, and Garber gets it off a gorgeous punt that'll land at the 29-yard line and down right there by the Mustangs. And that punt went for about 33 yards. Let's see if Brush just runs out the clock with 13.2 seconds to go at their own 29-yard line, with the Mustangs leading 15-0. All right, up to the line of scrimmage. This should be a simple handoff, you would think. On 1st and 10. There's the give to Wellen right side, and he's got a seam. Breaking 2 tackles in the secondary across the 45. And the Mustangs got a little bit sloppy with their tackling. He gets to the 47-yard line. It's a gain of 18, one of the bigger plays. That's the biggest play here for Brush in the opening half, and they're going to call a timeout. They're calling a timeout with 5.9 seconds to go. I think the Mustangs were just playing that defensively like the half was over. And now Brush is thinking, you know what, we're going to try to put up something high and deep and see what happens.
I wonder if the Mustangs were thinking he was going to kneel on it.
Well, not now. McBride still being treated down there.
Going to get his pads off.
He might be done for the rest of the game. They're up 15-0, but he's clearly favoring his right shoulder. Almost makes you want. I mean, he went all out for that football.
Yeah, he came right down on it.
Yeah, I've dislocated a shoulder before, and for me, that took 2 months to recover, and I was 19 years old. So here we go. 1st and 10 for the Bead Diggers at their own 47-yard line. 5.9 seconds to go in the opening half. Urick will hand it off to Welland right side, and he's going to be driven down just past midfield, a gain of 4, and that'll be the end of the first half. With the score, Fort Morgan 15, Brush nothing. You're listening to Morgan County's B106 and B106.net. John Beltran back with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde as we begin the third quarter from Legion Field in Fort Morgan. And the Mustangs are in the lead by a score 15-0. The Bead Diggers to kick it off as Trey McBride was being iced up there on the sidelines. But he's going to be done, you would think, for the rest of the game. His pads are not on.
He took the ice off.
Right, the ice is off. We'll just see. I mean, he's a big, strong kid, but he is clearly frustrated.
Yeah.
J.R. Puga to kick it off. Jacob Ortega and J.P. Hamer back deep to receive for Fort Morgan. Let's see, the Mustangs can break it open in the second half, something they thought they would get done earlier in the game since they won the first 2 meetings here in McBride's sophomore and junior years by a combined 74 points for the last 2, I should say.
Yeah, a lot different game than I thought it was going to be.
All right, so with the ball at the 40, Puga to kick it off to begin the second half. It's a high, short boot, and it's taken at the 15, running to his right to the 20. J.P. Hamer with a flag down. He was going to go a long way to the 50-yard line. J.P. Hamer is going to be gone. However, this more than likely will come back 85 yards. Yep. 85 yards for Hamer. And let's see what the penalty is. Went for 85, but that should be coming back, you would think, Brian.
Usually it's a hold, blocking the back, something here that bring it back. Let's see what the referee. Holding on Brush is declined.
It's wow.
Touchdown.
It's an 85-yard touchdown for J.P. Hamer. Holy mahungus. Kevin, did you see that down there? I'd never seen a hold on the kicking team on a return. That's why I thought it was rather anticlimactic.
Absolutely right. Coming back, but as if sometimes with blocking and tries to throw the guy and gets called for holding. I did get an unofficial report that they think it's Trey's clavicle that's injured, and that's all I've heard from down here.
All right, so unofficially, I believe it was 85 yards there by Hamer. So he goes the distance, 21-0 Mustangs. 14 seconds into the third. Man, what about the special teams tonight for Fort Morgan?
They've carried him so far.
Yeah, that's to say the least. All right, now the extra point to be attempted. High snap. And now we got a flag down.
Offsides Brush.
Yep, and that is against the Bead Diggers, as Brian said.
Move the key forward. It was probably a good thing. It was a high snap. They were going to be lucky to get that kickoff anyway.
All right, now Cardona from a little bit closer in. Let's see if he can nail this extra point. Snap a little bit high, but he boots that football right in between the uprights, and it's good. 14 seconds into the third quarter. It's Fort Morgan 22, Brush nothing. It's a 1-minute break on Morgan County's B106 and B106.net. The Mustangs lead the Bead Diggers 22-0. Isaac Morales just took the ensuing kickoff 20 yards to about the 24-yard line. J.P. Hamer with an unofficial 85-yard kickoff return. And the penalty was against Brush and a hold. I've never, ever seen that. And there's the give on the left side to Nick Wellen on the first play across the 25 to the 26. I mean, you see the hold all the time from the receiving team, not from the kicking team. It's a gain of 3, 2nd down and 7, and Nick Wellen now has 44 yards in the game on 12 carries, all unofficial. But Fort Morgan has 1 offensive touchdown in the game. Everything has come on special teams outside of that, and Trey McBride, injured in the first half, has not returned on 2nd and 7. There's the give, right up the gut, and driving across the 30 to the 31 is Isaac Morales, driven back after a gain of 5. Isaac Linker made the hit, and also in on the play for the Mustangs was Nick Norris, the sophomore. It'll be 3rd down and a short 3 to go for the Bead Diggers. And Morales has been running hard this game as well. Hasn't had as many carries as Wellen. 3rd down and a short 3 just beyond their own 30. 10.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Fort Morgan 22 and the Bead Diggers nothing. Receiver split out to the left. The backs are split. And on 3rd down, Urick will hand it off on the right side and maybe a couple of yards, and driving to about the 32 was the deep back for the Bead Diggers. And that was Nick Wellen. Once again, the sophomore is going to be short of the 1st down, a gain of 2. It'll be 4th down and just about a yard to go. Boy, I wouldn't think you'd go for it here, especially on your own side of the field, not even at the 40-yard line. Let's see what the Bead Diggers decide to do. Half a yard to go at the 37.5.
See what they come out with there. See if the defensive line can stop them.
Wellen and Morales in the backfield. Urick drops the ball. It's loose. And if he fell on it, there might be a shot for a 1st down because the ball rolled forward. I think a Bead Digger fell on it. Now they're going to have to measure. Nope, I don't think he's got the 1st down from here. It's right at the stick. But that ball rolled a little bit forward.
Yep.
And it's extremely close. And now they'll have to measure it. If the Mustangs have stopped them, they're playing with a short field. By the way, that Hamer kickoff return, he basically broke a couple of tackles and ran up the right sideline for a touchdown. I almost feel bad I didn't describe that in a more accurate fashion because plays like that are always wiped out.
Yeah. You see a flag on a kick. It is usually brought back. So we'll see. I can't.
No, I think the Mustangs have held the Bead Diggers. They have. They're short by, boy, quite a few inches, actually. And the Mustangs take over at the Bead Digger 33. Yeah, I think I had that further down the field. Of course, it's my first game of the season. I think I'm making more mistakes than most others. At the 33 now, the Mustangs have it in Brush territory. 9:36 to go in the 3rd. And Fort Morgan is in control. But that's on the scoreboard. They need more control at this point. Put together a deep offensive drive. They're not going to do it here because they only have 33 yards to play with. The backs are split. Hamer and Ortega. Under center is Linker. On 1st down. Handoff. Hammer left side. And he's across the 30. And he pulls his way back to the 25. It's a gain of 8.
Yeah,
2nd down and 2.
Wide open up the middle.
For J.P. Hamer. Let's see what we got.
Hamer under center. Split backs in the backfield. Going to be handed off to Hamer. He's going to bounce it. Tries to bounce it outside, but he is going to be brought down. A yard short, a yard loss, actually. That'll be back to the 25, 26 yard line. So they'll bring up a 3rd and 2 from the 25. As the Mustangs break huddle and Hamer under center once again. It's going to be a handoff this time And going to be short of the first down as they give that off to Jacob Ortega. And that will bring up a 4th and short, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 4th and maybe 1 or 2 here, Brian.
Yeah, they gave him more than I thought. They gave him clear down to the 20. Yeah, it's going to be 4th.
All right, it's 4th down and a yard to go. But it's really less than a yard to go because they started at the 33 of Brush, and they're almost at the 23. We got 8:21 slow-moving third quarter so far, and the Mustangs already have a touchdown on the board on the 85-yard kickoff return to begin the second half from J.P. Hamer. It'll be 4th down and less than a yard from the 23 under center. Linker quarterback sneak an easy first down across the right side, and one of his teammates basically tackled him forward. I mean, he assisted him to make sure that he got to the 22. It's a gain of 1, but I thought he had it initially, Brian.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, and then he got the assist from one of the backs. It looked like he almost hit him in the chin with it. It looked like a hit to the chin there, and then knocked him forward, but got him the first down.
1st and 10 for the Mustangs at the B. Digger 22-yard line. Receiver split to the left. That's Grayson Garver. Backs are split. There's the pitch right to Hamer, looking for a seam. Gets a block from Ortega. Spins his way for short yardage as he gets to about he might have gotten to the 18. He ran a little bit further down the field than I thought.
Yeah, this ref on this side looks like it's at least the 18.
Yeah, it's a gain of 4 for J.P. Hamer. And the Mustangs are establishing yet another weapon in that backfield, and Hamer's already proved valuable on special teams. 2nd down and 6 to go for Fort Morgan, leading 22-0. Again, Garver, the receiver to the left, the same setback, and they are split. Linker under center. Awaits a snap. Has the football, hands it off to Hamer, stutter stepping, but then he's thrown down for a loss. Boy, that was outstanding B. Digger penetration. Now we got a late flag. Somebody said something.
There was Ryan Dunker in there on that tackle.
Dunker, the senior, made an excellent play. He had a very good junior year for Brush. It's a loss of 2, but now let's see what the flag's all about. Back to the 20-yard line with a loss. Now this was at the end of the play, so this would have been after the play. And this will be a late hit against Fort Morgan. Personal foul. So it's going to be a loss officially of 1. And then we're going 15 the other way. Boy, and Kevin, you made reference to this in the first half about these penalties. And I thought, maybe second half they'd clean it up a little bit. And maybe they have, but boy, a penalty like that, I don't know if that's just being over-aggressive for one play or maybe a lack of discipline, which is not what the Mustangs are all about. They're usually a disciplined bunch.
Well, I think coaches are going to take from this that, hey, we played a scrappy Brush team that kept after us, but we still beat them even with all these mistakes. So we've got to get rid of these mistakes because next week Falcon will take advantage of them, and definitely Holy Family will pound us if we don't stop making mistakes.
There's the pitch left in the 3rd. That is Ortega, but he's got nothing. He's going to be thrown down for a loss of 1, trying to sweep it to the left side. That was a 3rd and long for the Mustangs. In fact, that was a 3rd and about 24, and it's a loss of 1 for Jacob Ortega. Now, let's also keep in mind that this is a little bit of a new offensive line. James Hocanetto went down in the opening half, and so they've had a couple of injuries in this game. James is starting center, but Nick Norris is in there now. He's going to be the deep snapper. Isaac Morales is back deep to receive. But again, the big injury to Trey McBride, diving on a long pass down the right sideline, and he came up with a right shoulder, or as Kevin said, perhaps a clavicle injury, but we do not know the severity of that injury. We won't know probably till a little bit later on this week, and now
delay of game.
Got a delay of game. That's not going to hurt the Mustangs because they're at the 35 of Brush with 5:38 to go in the 3rd.
Brings up a 3rd and 29 from the 40. With Garver skip back to him, and he gets the kick off. Looked like he was hit, but maybe they're going to say it was blocked. They're going to mark it back up at the 36-yard line. So a very short punt. 5:31 left here in the third period. The Mustangs up 22-0. This will be Brush possession with 5:31 to go third period. And they will start from their own 36-yard line.
All right, now the Mustangs to punt. Check that, Bead Digger football. All right, I was looking at the secondary. At their own 35-yard line, Urick under center. Colin Colon motion to the right. And play action now with a bootleg taking off. Back towards the middle is Urick, and he runs into some Mustangs at around the 39-yard line. A Mustang comes up with a football, but Urick was down. And my apologies, I'm going back and forth. That we're broadcasting on two stations tonight, having some technical issues. It'll be 2nd down and 6 at the 39-yard line after the gain of 4 there by Cade Urick. Yeah, our game end stats are not going to look crisp at all. This won't be the case throughout the course of the year. We'll clean this up. 2nd down and 6 from the 39. Urick, play action, looking to throw over the middle. The pass is complete. That's a 1st down into Mustang territory at the 40. And down inside the 35 to the 34. That's a solid gainer there for Brush, as the pass was caught by Ryan Dunker. And the official gain, let's see, it started at the 39. That's going to be a gain of 28.
Yeah, he was wide open, come across the middle there, hit him out here on the right flat.
28 yards and a 1st down on that pass from Urick to Dunker from the 33. Urick calling out play instructions. He'll hand it off to Wellen, running off left tackle, and he swings it to the outside. He's down after a gain of about 3 to the 30-yard line. Isaac Linker was in on the hit, and the Mustangs also got Dylan Woods in on that action. 2nd down and 7 to go for the Bead Diggers in Brush territory for the 2nd time in the game. Down to 3:48 to go in the 3rd. And the Mustangs up 22-0. From the 30, again, Urick is going to bootleg left, but he's got nowhere to go, taking it to the outside, and he's going to be taken down. I think Jimmy Keller was there, along with 2 other Mustangs. Just some excellent defense, and again, without Trey McBride, there are other Mustangs picking up the slack. No gain for Urick.
Jimmy Keller out there waiting for him.
Oh, yeah, he read that beautifully. Be 3rd down and 7 to go for Brush in Mustang territory. By the way, if you're listening live now, then we'll have this game on Bead Digger Replay. This game will be on Bead Digger Replay on 1010 KSIR as well as KSIR.com. So that's the game plan. It'll be 3rd and 7 from the 30. Urick is going to roll to his right. He's got running room. He throws on the run. Incomplete. It's tipped up by Luis Garcia. He tipped it away. There was a Bead Digger behind him, but Luis Garcia read that beautifully, and it's going to be 4th down for Brush. They'll go for it here now by 22.
Yeah, nice job there by the cornerback out here on this left side. I think that Brush receiver was open out here, just on the back side of him, but he got the hand up and knocked it down.
4th down. And 7 to go. Again, we will not have an update on Trey McBride, at least in a status update. He's going to be out for this game, but we don't know what his immediate future is. On 4th down, back to throw is Urick, setting up a screen to his left, and it is underthrown and incomplete. The Mustangs were out there looking for Isaac Morales, and Fort Morgan pitching a shutout so far. Will take over on downs with 2:36 to go in the game, in the third quarter, I should say. And 14:36 to go in the game, doing that simple math. Boy, let's see. They can put together a decent drive here. I mean, they scored in a short field, but the Mustang offense has really not been overly productive, has not been productive at all. In a 37-yard drive, and that's it. They've had that one pass to McBride that went for 21 yards. Looks like Hokanetto's the lone setback. Trips to the right. Isaac Linker out of the gun on first down as the football takes off, runs up the middle, and he lunges his way to the 35-yard line. Nice run by the junior quarterback, Isaac Linker. Jade Queen was the first beat digger in on the hit. It'll be second down and 5 to go. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, they keep it in the hands of one of their better players there, but they've got a decent running back also in Hooknottle. So
on second down and 5 from the 35. Linker again out of the gun. With trips to the right, low snap, and now he picks up the football, runs to his left, wants to get back to the line of scrimmage, and actually spins his way for a yard. Again, Queen on the hit. Oh boy, that's just a further indication that this Fort Morgan offense has struggled tonight, and they don't have too much in sync at all.
No, it's more like a scrimmage.
But again, they are so balanced, and that's special teams. I mean, you've got the kicker, and you've got in Jimenez. You've had 2 block punts. You've had a kickoff return for a touchdown. Man, there are ways they're making up for this. Third down and 4 at their own 36-yard line. Hokanetto the lone setback. Trips to the right once again. Linker out of the shotgun, has the football, stutter steps, runs behind a blocker, and he lunges across the 40 to the 41. That's a gain of 5. That was all Isaac Linker. That is some tough running, and it's a first down for the Fort Morgan Mustangs. And again, not incredible blocking there, but that was just tough, determined running by the junior quarterback.
Yeah, strong legs. That's what the weight room will do for you. He hit the weight room all summer long.
Well, he is a linebacker playing quarterback.
Yep.
We know that.
6'2", 205.
Sure. Yep. That's a big boy there. First and 10 at the 41 in the waning seconds here. Out of the gun, there's the handoff. Hokanetto breaks the tackle at the line of scrimmage, and he lunges his way. Talk about strong legs and getting those squats in across the 45 to the 48. It's a gain of 7 for the senior John Hokanetto. He's been looking impressive. He's had quite a few good carries.
Yeah, he's looking good. They're kind of getting back to their what Mustang football used to be was 5 yards in a cloud of dust, or 6 yards, 7 yards, and running that clock down. They're down to 17 seconds now in the third period.
It'll be second down and a long 3. Fort Morgan at their own 48-yard line. Hokanetto the lone setback once again. 3 receivers to the right out of the gun. Hokanetto's got the football right up the gut. He's got a first down as he drives across the 50 to about the 49, maybe the 48-yard line. Will give him 3+ yards. That is the end of the third quarter with a score. Fort Morgan 22 and the Bee Diggers nothing on Morgan County's B106 and B106.net.
Fort Morgan with possession here still. This is the 6th play of this drive. Started on their own 30-yard line.
All right, we've repositioned the router over there, so hopefully something happens. Okay, I'm ready.
Yep, we're ready to go here.
Oh, my bad.
As the Mustangs take it here on first and 10 from the Beat Digger 48.
All right, rolling to his right is Linker, throwing. The pass is complete, and at the first down to the 36-yard line, a gain of 13. Boy, that was an outstanding pass there from Isaac Linker for the gain of 13 to Grayson Garber. And the ball's just inside the 37. Thank you, Brian, giving instructions while we're supposed to be on it. But like I said, this is night 1, and it's night 1 for a lot of us here. But Linker throwing a bullet there to Grayson Garber. First and 10 at the 37. Now we got a stoppage.
Timeout, Brush.
All right, we'll keep it right here.
Yeah, that was a beautiful pass. That was an excellent pass to Garber coming across the middle there.
Well, they're going to need a lot more of that. Well, just to open up the run game, you know.
Yep.
I mean, at this point of the season, you want to take the pressure off the offensive line. And if you have those quick hitters like we saw right there, that could go a long way. That could certainly go a long way. But until then, there'll be some growing pains, and we've seen them here.
That's for sure. Coach Chisholm and his staff will have a lot to work on before they head to Falcon next week.
Yep, you can say that again. And Kevin, you were on the money. I mean, if they don't clean these up, forget about Falcon. Holy Family is going to be a nearly impossible task. They've got to clean these mistakes up. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at the 37. In a shotgun is Linker. Bobbles the ball, hands it off to Hamer. He's hit right there at the line of scrimmage and driven back. Driven back at around the 36. Boy, that was penetration there by a couple of the Bead Diggers. And Jade Queen, this guy's going to have a big year for Brush. He was pretty solid as a sophomore with his limited playing time. He had a huge hit there on Hamer. It's a gain of half a yard. Ooh, it's 2nd down and 10 to go here for the Mustangs. 22. I can't wait to see Fort Morgan play their A game because they could really be destructive against certain teams. They could, and I mean that obviously in a positive light. On 2nd down, there's the inside handoff. Hokenittle into the secondary. John Hokenittle with a 1st down. Right up the gut across the 25 to the 23. Give him 14 yards. John Hokenittle, there's a Bead Digger down who took a brunt of that contact. And, man, if you tackle that guy too high, you're going to pay the price, and that's what happened there. There are 3 Bead Diggers and a Mustang out there. In terms of coaches, Coach Harrison Chisholm, and boy, they're out there quickly. We have 5 now out there. Hopefully that's not a serious injury.
Yeah, I don't know who went out there in the green shirt for sure.
Hokenittle's last 3 carries, unofficially, have gone for 38 yards. Kevin, do you see a rather serious situation out there? Because I think we're going to have a serious one. We could have a delay in this game at this point.
Absolutely. They're waving the ambulance crew out to look at him. What I saw is as soon as he made the hit, he fell face down, and he was motionless for at least 3 seconds. Barely could roll his head a little bit. So they're going to take all the precautions they can in this concussion-conscious society and make sure he's okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Kevin. We'll keep it right here for now. This will be a significant delay in this game as we are in the 4th quarter. The Mustangs with 11:01 to go lead the Brush Bead Diggers by a score of 22-0. We'll see if we can identify the player who is down at the 23-yard line. And anytime you see a bevy, and I mean anywhere from, we saw 5 coaches out there immediately. And as Kevin said, he saw him roll his head. Let's just hope.
Yeah, I've seen him. He had his leg up there, so I think he is awake. So
yeah, it might just be one of those. I mean, do they call them stingers? Even though,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the tough part about this sport. And Brian, let's face it. As much as a lot of us love football, youth participation in football is going down in this country because of the awareness of concussions, CTE, and kids are bigger and stronger and faster than ever. And
maybe the equipment's just not keeping up with it.
It's probably not. And John is so big and strong, and he's just doing his job. John Hokenittle's doing his job, and and I don't know if that was a solid fundamental hit. I don't know. It's hard to see from here. When the play unfolds live.
Right.
Hopefully he didn't have his head down, but again, unable to identify who that Bead Digger is at this point, but hopefully he'll be okay. And if we can get let's send it down to Kevin, a Bead Digger there that have you seen who got injured?
I believe it's number 24 is down.
Yeah, we're seeing a replay of it right now.
Cole, possibly?
Yep, we're seeing a replay of it right now. Looks like he landed on his head. Yep, it looks like, can we roll that back really quick? We're looking at let's see. John is running up the middle. It's hard. There's a lot of traffic there. But it clearly looks that Colin kind of landed on his head. So it is the senior, Colin Cole. Yep. Boy, you see he tumbles over there, Brian, and he lands on his head. I appreciate that. That gives us a perspective on what happened on that particular play. So he kind of rolled over right into his head with a lot of force. And again, you know what? It doesn't. Here's the deal. It doesn't take that big of a hit. It's just it's where. It's a matter of positioning. It's a matter of positioning. And Colin Cole being attended to. When the season changed, I can tell you last year for Briar, they lost in overtime in week 3 against Eaton, and Cole got hurt. And had they won that game, I mean, he was still injured in that game, but that could have changed Broch's seat. Coach Reed Call, the former head coach of the Bee Diggers, is here tonight. They could have been 2-1. That could have changed the season. Right. And you know what happens in sports. Regardless of the sport, you lose a close game, it can create the domino effect, and then you kind of have to create that mentality to win again. And that might not happen, which is why Brush struggled through a 2-7 season through some very trying times. And Colin Cole's absence was one of many reasons, aside from other injuries, that the Bee Diggers did not have the season they anticipated 1 year ago. But again, let's reset this for you. I'm John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. We're at Legion Field in Fort Morgan in week 1 of the Colorado High School football season. 11:01, I should say, to go fourth quarter. The Mustangs lead 22-0. Let's recap the scoring while they attend to Colin Cole. The Mustangs got on the board 2 minutes and 4 seconds into the season. And they got on the board on a blocked punt by Trey McBride and a 15-yard return by Jimmy Keller. I believe you can recap the rest of it, Brian, there. Then the safety there that McBride created.
Had the safety early on. And that made it 8-0 with 10:58 left in the, or with 8:38 left in the second quarter. And then Fort Morgan gets the ball back after the safety, of course. And in 6 plays, they go 37 yards. Trey McBride takes it in for a touchdown. PAT was good. Trey McBride with a run. PAT was good at that point, made it 15-0. And that's the way the first half came to an end. Fort Morgan gets the ball back to start off the first first possession of the second half. And on the kickoff, J.P. Hamer takes it 85 yards. And the PAT is good. Once again, makes it 22-0. And that's where we sit now, as I did see an ambulance coming with its lights on here just a minute ago. So they have him off now. But Colin Cole still on the ground. Now they're going to get him up and onto the stretcher, because they have to have another ambulance here. They can't just load him up and take off and not have another safety personnel here. So the other ambulance has arrived, and they're getting Colin Cole strapped down on the stretcher. And hopefully everything is good with him. I see Dr. Keller out there also on the field. And also there's actually the chain gang from the fire department out there helping with Colin Cole as they take him off on the stretcher on the going to the northwest side of the field. So we'll resume this contest shortly, but first and foremost, our thoughts are with Colin Cole as he is will be evaluated, and hopefully things will turn out okay for Colin. And when we do resume play, it will be a 1st and 10 from the 23 for the Mustangs as they started this drive that they're on from their own 30. And they're doing this all as they had their star player, Trey McBride, hurt in the first half of play, possibly with a either separated shoulder or maybe a clavicle problem. And they're going to let the players now get loosened up as they get Colin Cole off over to the ambulance. About 2:25 left here. And they're going to give him a warm-up period of 3 minutes. So we will resume play here shortly. There are some other good games going on tonight in 3A. The top 10 in 3A. Pueblo East is at number 7, Longmont. Number 2, Discovery Canyon is at number 7, 4A, Fruita Monument. Number 3, Holy Family is at Palisade. That ought to be a whale of a game over there at Palisade. Number 4, Silver Creek is home to Dakota Ridge. Number 5, Meade is at number 9, Lewis Palmer. Number 6 would be Fort Morgan as their number 6 in the state, and they're here, of course, against Brush. And number 10, Palmer Ridge, is at Sand Creek. So some good games going on in the top 10 in 3A. And 3 through 7 in 3A will all play. Fort Morgan will play each of them, as the top 10 is Pueblo East, Discovery Canyon, Holy Family. Number 4 is Silver Creek, Meade, Fort Morgan, Longmont, Palisade, Lewis Palmer, and Palmer Ridge. And Fort Morgan will play Holy Family, Silver Creek, Meade, and Longmont somewhere along the season here. Fort Morgan getting ready to going to wait just a little bit longer. They got about 40 seconds left here before they get the ball snapped, get the clock reset. As the players are out and around the football, but not quite ready. They got 35.5 now. They got it back to 11:01 left here in the fourth period. Mustangs will have it 1st and 10 from the Brush 23.
All right, and Luis Garcia will be the outside receiver to the right. What an adventure tonight. Whew. What an adventure.
Well, we're waiting for the chain gang to come back.
Come on, guys.
They had some other ones
Are
headed
they
over
the chain
there.
gang?
Yeah, the Fort Morgan.
Oh, I wonder if they were assisting, though.
Yeah, they had helped on taking
Okay.
Colin Cole over to the
Okay.
ambulance, and now
My bad.
They're coming
My
back,
apologies.
so.
You know. My apologies. All right, 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at the 23. The previous play, minutes ago, I should say, was the 14-yard run by John Hokenettle. Up to the line of scrimmage, Isaac Linker under center. Hokenettle in the backfield. He's right behind Linker. But the handoff is to the deep back Hamer, and he's going to be taken down for a loss back at the 25. Lots of penetration there by Caleb Cox and Isaac Morales, along with 2 other beat diggers. It'll be 2nd down.
Loss of about 2.
And 12 to go for the 25 from the 25-yard line. From 25 in Brush territory, Linker again under center. This time we'll give it up right at the middle. Hokenettle with a huge hole and bowling his way across the 20 to the 17. That's a gain of 8, I'm telling you. He's had a big night offensively, John Hokenettle. Again, we don't have the official yardage for him, but I would tell you unofficially, he's approaching 70 yards.
Yeah, he hits that hole quick, and he is also tough to bring down once he gets in the open.
It'll be 3rd down and about 4 to go, just shy of the 16 for the Mustangs. Linker, handoff, Hamer, side, nothing. Stood up right there at the line of scrimmage. Nick Wellen got him low, along with 1 other beat digger, and then he was driven back. It'll be 4th down. He's back to the 13, a loss of about half a yard. Check that. The 18, I should say. 17.5-yard line. So it'll be 4th down and about 4 to go. A long 4 to go for Fort Morgan. And they're just looking to control the clock here up by 22. here in the fourth quarter.
9 minutes to go.
On fourth down, let's see if Linker decides to throw the ball. He is back to throw, rolling right, pressure. Now they stopped the clock. Let's see what happened.
Motion.
Yep, it is a false start. Again, probably emblematic of the night that the Mustangs have had. Just too many inconsistencies, that is, on the offensive end. Now it'll be fourth down and close to 10 for the 22-yard line. So 4th and 10. And Luis Garcia will be the receiver to the right. To the left is Grayson Garber. Under center, Linker with 2 in the backfield. Linker this time, well, there's some confusion. He hands it off. I don't know what that was, but he handed it off. There's a loss of 2 yards there to J.P. Hamer. I think either he handed it off and turned the wrong way, or Hamer went the wrong way, but that's a loss of close to 3, and the Bead Diggers take over on downs, and it'll be Bead Digger football. And we've got 8:14 to go in the game, and the Mustangs lead in what I would call, Brian, quite frankly, an uneventful game.
Yep. Yeah.
22-0. This is going to be a victory for the Mustangs, but not the way they wanted. Urich is going to roll to his right. Pressure coming backside. He runs. He's across the 30, up the sideline, and he runs out of bounds. That's close to a first down for the senior quarterback, Cade Urich. I think he stepped out of bounds prior to getting to the stick.
About the 33, it looks like. Step out of bounds, stops the clock at 8:06.
Yep.
Brings up a second and 2.
There's the give, right side, first down for Morales. He runs from the 33 to about the 40. Gain of close to 7 for Isaac Morales.
First and 10, just short
Brian,
of the
go ahead
40.
and take over here.
Just short of the 40-yard line, be first and 10. For Brush is Cade Urich under center. Split backfield, 2 receivers to the right. And it's going to be a handoff around this left side and hit at the line of scrimmage, but then goes forward to about the 43. And that is going to... It's going to be Nick Wellen. And that will bring up a 2nd and 7. From the 43. Split backfield once again. Urich under center, receiver left. It's going to be a handoff around that right side, breaking it open across the 50, the 45. Cuts it back the other side, but brought down from the back by Jimmy Keller as Rush gets it clear down to the Fort Morgan 40-yard line. That is Adrian Lopez. And it will be a 1st and 10 from the Fort Morgan 40. Urich under center once again, split backfield. Going to be a handoff right up the middle, and that will be Lopez once again. And he will take it down inside the 40, down to about the 37. We'll give it 2 in the 2nd, 8 from the 38. Down to 6:27 and counting here in the 4th period. Now receivers right, split backfield. And it's going to be a keeper by Urich, and he is not going to get much. He might get it back to the line of scrimmage, but that will bring up a 3rd down. And they're going to give him 1, 3rd and 7. So we're seeing 3rd and 7 now from the 37. It'll be a 3rd and 5 from the 40. Pickup of 1 by Hamer. And now Connor Fajardo goes into the game late for the Mustangs. Garver comes wide right. Kind of a pistol formation for the Mustangs. As they get the snap, it's going to be a handoff to Ortega around this right side. He gets it inside the 40 and going to be just short of the first down as he had to get to the 35, so he's going to be about a yard short. So it's going to bring up a 4th and 1. From the 36-yard line. So just trying to run this clock down to 3:20. This started with 5:25 on the clock. So Linker back under center once again. With John Hochdahl is the lead back. Ortega, I believe, is the tailback. As Linker waits for the snap, and he does get it, gives it to Hochdahl. And it looks like he will get the first. I think he reached out across it. The referee on this close side looks like he should get the first down. He marked it on the end. He marked it right on the 35, so that will be a first down. First down run for Hope. That'll bring up a 1st and 10 now from the 35. So the Mustangs picking up that first down now should be able to run the clock out here. They have to get another first down.
Yep, all right, now I'm back with you, Brian. Thanks for, I tell you, I don't remember how many times we had issues like this. 1st and 10 at the 35. 2:23 to go, clock running. The Mustangs up by 22. Receivers to the left and right. 2 to the right, 1 to the left. In the gun is Isaac Linker. Handoff left side to Ortega, and he spins back to the middle, but he's down at the line of scrimmage. Might have lost half a yard as we approach the 2-minute mark of this game. The Mustangs had a 15-0 lead at halftime. J.P. Hamer returned the opening kickoff of the second half, about 85 yards for a touchdown. What we thought at that point was a Fort Morgan penalty. Instead, it was a brush penalty, and it actually counted. That's how rare and unique and odd this game has been, that you actually have a penalty against the kicking team. Here we go, 2nd down and 10 from the 35. Again, Linker looking up at the clock. Actually, not the clock, but he was looking at the official handoff up the left side there to Hamer, and he's going to be spun down, and then the ball is loose, and he was stripped, and I think the Beat Diggers have it. They do, as he was trying to sweep it left, and the Beat Diggers have it at their own 35-yard line with 1:19 to go. It will be brush football, and all they had to do is run it out. Kevin, what do you got for us downstairs?
Well, I heard you and Brian talking about some of our top 10 teams in the state. 3 of Fort Morgan's future opponents, Longmont, Meade, and they're all doing really well tonight against Cody.
Yeah, that means that Fort Morgan's going to play a lot better. Deep up the left side, that's going to be incomplete. Incomplete on that pass. Intended for Caleb Cox at around the 35 of Fort Morgan as Urick just launched it. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
We did have a full eclipse of the sun. Maybe instead of the full moon theory, maybe things are going crazy because of a full eclipse of the sun. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, it's affecting everything. 2nd down and 10. Urick to throw again, looking, pumping, deep up the right side. That could be picked off. Tip incomplete. In fact, Garver nearly tipped it to Ben Brown, and he was running towards the end zone. But it's incomplete. Nice play by Garver, but had he tipped that ball a little bit too much, Brown would have caught it on the run and would have been going for 65 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 10. We're down to 1:08 to go in the game. And it's a 22-0 lead for the Mustangs. That was the lead early in the third after the kickoff return. On 3rd and 10 from the 35. One setback. Urich this time will hand it off right up the middle. That's a first down up the left side to Welland. Welland at the 40. A flag is down as he reaches the 20-yard line, and he's going to be down at the 17. It might still be a first down, but that's going to be nullified. That's not going to be a 48-yard run for Welland. Instead, or maybe close to 50, there's a flag at the 47. A Mustang is saying that he was either held or blocked to the back. So Welland will pick up positive yardage, but not 50. It'll be closer to, 9 or 10 yards. And that is, what's that indication?
I think that is a blindside block.
Okay, blindside block. That's, I've never.
I think that's what that is.
Okay, that makes sense. A blindside block. Yeah, that's come way back there. So let's see how much yardage they give Welland. That's too bad. He would have gone over 100 for the game with that carry.
If that's from the spot, it'll be 15 yards back from that.
Yeah,
so.
Too bad for him, but good for the Mustangs as we're down to 59 seconds to go.
So they did get a gain of about 4 out to the 39.
Yep. I'll take it this play, Brian, then we'll switch back and forth, and well, let's see how much further we have to go here as the clock is stopped. Urich back to throw, looking, throws to his right. Dropped by Brown at the 49. That would have been a first down. And now, was that a fourth? Now it's a fourth down play, but that would have been an easy first down for the Bee Diggers.
Yeah, that would hit him in a bad spot, right in the hands.
Yep, it'll be 4th down and 7 at their own 38-yard line. Well, we promised, I think the football and the broadcast will get better as the weeks move along. On 4th down, and there's the give right up the gut and stunned right there at the line of scrimmage by about 4 Mustangs is Nick Welland. Boy, that was some outstanding defense. And Brush turns it over on downs. Danny Narvaez, a sophomore, made a big hit there, and then his teammates cleaned it up. It'll be first down for the Mustangs at the Bee Digger 39 with about 39 seconds to go. And Brian, if you do the honors, you can end this thing for us here, and I'll be right back with you.
Okay. So first and 10, Fort Morgan from the 39. And stoppage of play here for some reason. Not sure what they moved it back to the. Yeah, they took a delay. Not sure what that was. Now it's 2nd and 12, so I'm not sure just what that was all about. 2nd and 12 from the 40. Oh, it took a kneel down. I'm sorry, I didn't see the kneel down. So that will be the last play of the game here, as it will come to an end here in about 12 seconds, as the Mustangs will win this 22-0 over the Brush Bee Diggers, but not the type of game that the players or the coaches were expecting here, I'm sure, as they had a lot of mistakes that will need to be overcome if they plan on winning some games here further on down the road, as they will go to Falcon next week. We will take a 3-minute break and then be back with the post-game show on B106 and B106.net. Fort Morgan Mustangs postgame show is brought to you by Morgan Community College. Find out why Morgan Community College is the best choice for your higher education. Visit MCC online at www.morgancc.edu or stop by the campus for a personal advising session. MCC, here to help you imagine, believe, and achieve your goals.
All right, the Mustangs win the game tonight in the opener for both teams. Final score was 22-0. The Mustangs got on the board first on a block punt by Trey McBride and a 15-yard return by Jimmy Keller. Extra point was no good. That was 2:04 into the game. Then 8:47 to go second quarter. It was a block punt by McBride. It rolled out of the end zone. The ball made it 8-0. And then the Mustangs went 6 plays, 37 yards, and 2 minutes and 37 seconds later on in the second. McBride scored from 4 yards out, making it 15-0. And then he was hurt in the waning minutes, I should say, of the opening half, stretching out for a long pass up the right sideline when he was covered by Ben Brown. Injured his right shoulder, perhaps his clavicle, as Kevin reported at halftime. And that was essentially it for him. He was done for the game. We do not know the extent of his injury at this point. We hope to find out sometime soon, sometime during the week. We'll pass it on as soon as possible. But obviously, if he's hurt for an extended period, that's a season changer for the Mustangs. He knew he was hurt immediately, and then Fort Morgan got on the board early in the third. In fact, J.P. Hamer returned the opening kickoff about 85 yards for a touchdown. The extra point was good. It was 22-0. The Bee Diggers ran for close to 100 yards in the game. Again, we had so many technical difficulties in a couple of ends. We didn't get all the stats in, but John Hokenadel was extremely impressive. Hokenadel had carries of 10, 7, 7, and 14 at one point, and he ended up with about 75 some odd yards in this game for Fort Morgan. But quite frankly, Kevin, you saw it. I mean, they never really got on track offensively. It was certainly not a lack of effort, but just the performance was not there tonight. They got to be much better here in the next few weeks.
Right, their only offensive driver, maybe one of the two, was when McBride pretty much single-handedly marched them down the field, either as the quarterback or the fullback, and scores the touchdown. And so offensively, they got a lot of things to figure out, especially now taking Trey out of the picture. And defensively, we saw that Brush started to have a little bit of success once Trey was out of there. And Dylan was gone, injured. Talked about him. So I think the injury bug is going to be a big one. We'll just have to see where they can come out on this.
All right, and Brian, we saw it. I mean, for the Mustangs, they certainly have got to they've got to play better in future weeks. But for the time that McBride played, he was certainly very good tonight.
Oh yeah, he was the team basically. The 2 block punts and then the touchdown. So he was the Mustangs offense basically tonight. And now with him gone, but they go to Falcon next week, and should be a game they should be able to win, even without him. But they're going to need him at least for the following week when they go to Holy Family, because I think they're at Palisade tonight.
Right, and Holy Family took it to Palisade pretty handily. So Holy Family is going to be solid coming in 2 weeks from now.
All right, Mustang Player of the Game brought to you by Transwest Chevrolet Buick, serving Northeast Colorado, now located in Fort Morgan and Sterling. They've got a great selection of new and used vehicles. Stop by and take a test drive. Before we get to the Mustang Player of the Game, if you're listening live now, keep in mind that our replay coming up not only here on B106 and B106.net, but on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com will be of this game. We had some issues on KSIR maintaining the signal. We were more successful here, even though we had some issues, but these will be things that are cleaned up as well. This was week 1 of the season, but I think at least I think the vote's got to be for McBride. He was responsible, even though Hamer had that nice kickoff return. Jimmy Keller was excellent on defense, but any time that you're lacking there on offense, but you have McBride making those 2 special teams plays, I think he pretty much unanimously, Kevin, is the Mustang Player of the Game.
Yeah, and that's just goes to show what kind of impact player Trey McBride is, that he can play half the game and still be the player of the game. And clearly, I think he was the impact player tonight.
Yep.
All right, we'll resume our Facebook Live segments coming up next week. We didn't have them tonight, but we'll have them next week. I'll be with Brian and Kevin next week at Falcon High School. That'll be a 7 o'clock start with the Mustangs try to make it 2-0 as they take on the Falcons. All right, outstanding job by our sound engineers and producers tonight. Blake Boyer being one of them, Christy Creighton helping out. I know we had another one in there. I apologize. We'll get all the names right. Again, it's week one for all of us from all ends. For Kevin Rohde and Brian Nickel, I'm John Beltran. The final score tonight, the Fort Morgan Mustangs beat the Brush Bee Diggers in the opener from Legion Field in Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan 22, Brush nothing on Morgan County's B106 and B106.net.